Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be all about the college essay brainstorming process. So basically I'm going to walk you through good ways to brainstorm, the types of ideas that you kind of want to be developing while you're looking at your essays for this application cycle. Okay, so the first thing that we should start off with is when is a good time to brainstorm for college essays. A lot of people have questions like, when should you start your essays? What does starting an essay entail? And first off, I think starting your college essays just means thinking about the prompts, so reading them and just exposing yourself. Okay, these are the kinds of questions they're going to ask. What are possible things that I could respond with? A good time to start that would be the summer before your senior year, because you have all this free time in a more low stress environment to kind of brainstorm and think through a bunch of new ideas, as opposed to when the school year starts and you have to actually focus on your classes and other things like that. When sports and extracurriculars start up again, you're gonna find yourself very crunched for time when you put college essays on top of those things. So getting started on your essays, thinking about them, and writing drafts over the summer is going to be really helpful for you in terms of compartmentalizing all of the work that you're going to have to do. So that's the number one tip. Start in the summer, start thinking about the essays, and definitely start brainstorming now. So how to brainstorm, right? What counts as good ideas? I find that a lot of people, when they start brainstorming, psychoanalyze their topics way too much. So I think that's the number one thing that you don't want to do when you go into the brainstorming process. So what that means is, don't come up with one idea and then ask yourself and start asking yourself and other people, is this a good idea? Is this like an idea that's going to get me into Ivy League schools? Or like, is this the idea that is going to impress the admissions officers? Things like that. You don't want to start weighing out your ideas until you have a lot of options first. So the best way to brainstorm is just to word vomit as many ideas as you have. Word vomit whatever comes to mind, and do this over an extended period of time. So do this over extended period of time. So obviously, you're going to start, if you start brainstorming on a Sunday, and then you're going to take like a 2 to 3 day break, and then maybe have an idea in the middle of the week, and you want to come back and like add to your brainstorming list. So a really good way to brainstorm is to keep track of your ideas in a like easy to contact place, whether that be like a Google Drive so that you can pull it up on a school and your personal computer, or a notebook that you carry around, or the Notes app in your phone. Those are really good places to just write down the ideas that you have in the spur of the moment. The other reason why it's so helpful to come up with a whole list of ideas, even if you only end up choosing one for your personal statement at the end of the day, coming up with all of those other ideas are really helpful for all of the other essays that you're going to have to write during the application season, whether that be a scholarship essay or the school supplemental essays. Those are good opportunities for you to use the other ideas that you may have come up with that you didn't use for your Common App essay. The other thing that coming up with a lot of ideas is helpful for is that you can kind of map out, okay, this is going to be a good place for me to talk about this part of my life, and then I can talk about these other ideas that are still important to me in these other parts of my application, typically in the supplemental essays. Those are like the key features of the brainstorming process. Coming up with a lot of ideas, giving yourself a lot of time to come up with those ideas, whether it be a few days, a few weeks, or even a month or so if you've gotten started really early during the summer. You also want to keep track of those ideas, whether that be in a book or on an online document that you can easily access. Let's go over ways to kind of foster brainstorming. Like, how do you come up with ideas, right? Because obviously knowing that you have to write the ideas down isn't helpful if you can't come up with any ideas at all, right? And I feel like the brainstorming process is easily the most intimidating part of the college application process. And the reason being is because we're not experienced with, like, as high school students or just people in general, we're not experienced with having to think about our lives or having to psychoanalyze, things about ourselves and our life experiences and what our interests and passions are. And because of that, a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about themselves, right? So even thinking of ideas or thinking of strategies of stuff to talk about can be very awkward and not super exciting. So I found that ways to help people brainstorm is not going to be sitting in a room by yourself in complete silence. A lot of people will try to schedule brainstorming time and be like, okay, I'm going to lock myself in this room for 3 hours and work on college essays and work on brainstorming. And I feel like that just puts yourself in a higher stress environment, and it's going to make you even more uncomfortable and kind of less primed to come up with good, authentic, and personal ideas. So a better strategy instead would actually be to take time to brainstorm your essays, but I would do that while choosing a movie, like one of your favorite movies that you've seen, or at least one that you've seen before, so that you can be watching a movie at the same time and just kind of jot things down while you're watching the movie. Or you could do that while watching a TV show or YouTube videos. But I find like watching movie or TV is kind of better because it's like outside of the norm. I feel like we take less time to like relax and watch movies and TV as opposed to like YouTube is very integrated in people's schedules nowadays. So yeah, I would watch a movie or watch a TV show while you brainstorm, because also that'll give you a lot of nostalgia brownie points, because you'll remember things of when you were a kid, or remember things that are relevant to you based off of like the inspiration from whatever show or movie that you decide to watch. You don't have to draw inspiration from the movies or TV shows, but I find that, they're just helpful because, some things are very relevant or relatable in TV shows and movies because that's like they're made to be relatable and stuff. So if there's something relevant to you, like that would be a cool idea to write down as a potential essay topic. Another good low stress environment would be to, do it when you're just relaxed. So sometimes, having your notebook or notes app next to you, like right before you go to bed, because when you're falling asleep, that's a good time when people get a lot of ideas. Or if you're in a car ride or just sitting and listening to music, you can get a lot of good eureka moments. So you want to have your brainstorming notes on hand when you're just chilling. Once you've collected like your list of ideas, and I would say at least 10 or so ideas, like I don't want to put a numerical value because really like you could have hit that really great idea after 3 and fallen in love with it. And if that's true, that's great, then start writing. But for other people who are unsure as to whether they hit that idea, I would shoot for at least 10. You're likely to have way more than that, and that's super good too.
This next segment is just a friendly reminder for you to try to come up with ideas on your own and not to rely on random strangers to give you quote unquote good ideas for you.
And notice how I didn't explicitly state any like strategic or cookie cutter advice. And the reason is because that's what's going to make the most unique essay. A lot of people go to like college essay advisors and YouTube channels because they want to hear exactly what to do. And I'm not going to do that, because if I told you what to do, then that's going to take so much away from what you could do and from what you could develop with like your own ideas and your personality and strategies like that. Like obviously there's going to be people who will give you feedback and help you guide along, and I can do that. I also give free reviews for people who subscribe. So I do those things, but I'm not going to tell you exactly like what idea that you should do, what you should talk about, and what you have to, because then it's going to be a much less unique essay. So I want you guys to keep that in mind too when you're brainstorming. It's like you know the most about yourself, you hold the most power about yourself, and you're going to tell the best stories about yourself. So don't stress too much about the brainstorming process. Do it while you're in a relaxed and chill environment and have fun with it. Anywho, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.